Hello, everyone. I'm Sabine from Illumine the Liminal, my pretty brand new podcast series. And I'm so excited to be here today with the beautiful Jade Varopana Benioni Jade is a human design expert, and we just recently met at a long ladies weekend where we were both offering our gifts. And yeah, so we connected nicely. And today we are here to talk about human design. We'll talk about astrology, what the two have in common, where we are at this point in time, future perspectives, and yeah. I'll just gonna hand over to you, Jade, and let you introduce yourself a bit more. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me, Sister Savina. Yes, and you did have, you were very prepared and had all my, a bit more about me. But I asked you to let me reveal these new um, titles or pillars that I relate to in terms of how I would describe myself in doing my work. So I'm a sacred navigator, energetic strategist, and Matakite, which in my language means seer. And I'm here to help people reignite and heal their self-esteem so that they can, be a part of healing the collective self-esteem. So I'm excited to be here today to talk about all things human design, astrology, and just to be here and see where our flow goes, where our rhythm goes. It's a huge part of my work, and it's a huge part of Sabine and her design, all about rhythm. So just excited to see where our flow goes.
Yeah, thanks so much, Jade. That's so beautiful because, yeah, so as I said earlier, we just spent a weekend together where we met for the first time at a ladies gathering, women only.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and beautiful Jade shared her gifts as a human designer, offering readings for people. And I had, yeah, that profound experience with you having a reading myself. And of course, I've heard of human design. I haven't gotten into it too much, but I know how profound it is. And also, yeah, how uniquely we are all designed, isn't it? And I gained so much wisdom of only having an hour there with you about my own setup, which, yes, of course, astrologically, I do have some great self understanding, but that gave me a whole new perspective of, yeah, how I approach life, how I'm flowing with things or not flowing. And as you've already mentioned, rhythm is a big word here. And also on your website, you talk about from the mind to our natural rhythm, to our innate state. And I feel like so many of us, we have not forgotten. I think it's always there for us, this innate setup. But then there is all these overlayers and conditioned versions of ourselves and what we tell ourselves we can't do or we shouldn't. And yeah, so it's given me a great perspective on my own rhythm and how to be more embodied. And yeah, I'll hand over to you. Do you want to explain a bit when you do a session, what are you looking at, and maybe the different types of design there can be for, yeah.
Okay. Yep. I will start by honoring the source and where it's come from, and also to start weaving in a little bit about what it's made up of, if you like, just a bit of what we call the roots of it and
Mm-hmm.
how it came to be. And then, yes, I can definitely head into, um, the at a high level, how many types there are and what you can expect if you were to pull a chart, because anyone can pull their chart online. Whether you know what you're looking at is another story. Just like astrology, when I used to look at astrology charts, I was like, what's going on here? So yes, definitely can cover all of that. If I forget anything, please remind me. If I go on a tangent, please pull me back. But I guess Human Design was channeled through from a manifestor, and his name was Ra Uruhu, and he's now passed on. He was a Canadian male, and he received the system as a transmission. And this is how I tell the story and introduce my experience also of Human Design. That Ra would have fused together. He did fuse together 4 ancient traditional systems plus some modern science into a single new framework that took on a life of its own. And these frameworks were the I Ching, which is the Book of Changes. Its origins are from China, dating back over 3,000 years. It also includes the Kabbalah, which is the Tree of Life. Its origins through Jewish mysticism. The chakra system, origins, India, Hinduism, later Buddhist tantric traditions, and then also Western physics, Western science is fused in there with the mention of neutrinos, and then of course a big part of the human design system is Western astrology, origins. Different parts of the world, Mesopotamia, India, ancient Greek. Many countries have their versions of astrology, but Western astrology is a huge part. Hence why, when we're pulling charts, it's very similar to the information that we would need to pull an astrology chart. So all of these, you can go a little bit deeper into that. I'm not somebody who likes to, I do have the knowledge of the origins, but I don't talk about it a whole lot. That's not my jam, but I like to honor it, honor how it came through. So as I see it, Ra, as a Canadian male, would have had his frames of the world and channeled through human design, through his being as a manifestor. That's what he was here to do, bring through the new. And to be honest, a lot of my journey, I've been teaching, sharing human design for over 7 years now. And a lot of my time I've just spent trying to run away from teaching it, to sharing it, because at first I didn't really, align with having to learn about, these origin systems. And I'm Indigenous to Aotearoa, New Zealand, so I have my own culture, and I could see how it was all made up of different pieces and parts. But the more I kept running away from it, say I would get invited as a projector to talk about it and share it and teach it, and people would want to pay me for readings, and then I would try and say, that's it, I'm not doing anymore, and run away. But then I would be always led back, and I sat down and I wondered why. So I started looking beyond Ra's initial channeling of the system and how it came through. And I started looking at what it's actually what human design is actually for, and what is the purpose of it? Why do I keep being drawn back? And when I looked at it, the messaging over and over again, even from Ra, was that this system is for the children, first and foremost, to give them a better shot at understanding who they are, understanding their gifts, their uniqueness, how they, designed to move in the world, and for adults to honor that and try and nurture it as the best we can, rather than getting into adulthood and having to do a lot of work to go back into the inner child and fix it all up. How about there be a blueprint to nurture children? So that I could align with my values, my Indigenous values. I'm like, of course, everything we do is to provide, a better experience for the next 7 generations. So for the children, I can get down with the system. The second one was, as you mentioned, Sabine, returning the agency to the body from the mind, reclaiming authority from the mind that is, I liken it to like a government, where it's just got policies and procedures and legislation, and that's it. No matter how illogical and stupid the the logic is, it's like stick to that no matter what. So it's this returning the authority back to the body, which is, in my language, the word for uh oh no, we won't go into that. No, we just got to pause. So yeah, returning authority to the body is like listening to what is needed for right now, not what we've come up with based on previous memories and things. So that I'm in alignment with. And then the other things were, um, you know, moving in alignment with how we're designed, not with how we've been taught. And that was a big one for me, because there's been times where I've done things and I don't get the same result and I don't like it, but everyone else is doing it. So I felt like obliged to continue. But this system said, no, here's how you can move. I went, okay, cool. I like that. And then the next one was, this whole system is to prepare us for a new way, a new world, a new leadership. We'll talk about that at the end, I guess. But
Mm-hmm.
those four things, Sabine, that's what really got me to sit down and start running and to really own sharing the system, no matter, um, even if I didn't totally align with the amalgamation of all these different beautiful systems that have come from all over the world. Because to me, I was a little bit funny about that. And also teaching something that's outside of my culture, I was a little bit like, oh, but I made the bridge. I created the bridge from my lived experience as a Wahine Maori, as a Maori woman, an Indigenous Maori woman from New Zealand, Aotearoa, to this system that had beautiful roots at the end of the day, and created this bridge that I could walk across and help other people walk across. But I just had to get out of my way a little bit around the beliefs. So that's a little bit about the origins, also my journey to being okay with sharing human design. And I know that there's another part that you wanted me to answer about the different types, but I feel like I'll just take a breath and let you interject or say anything. Yeah, from
Yeah,
what I've said.
thank you so much, Jade. I love everything you said, and it really makes me aware that how important it is that we make it our own, isn't it? Yes, I mean there's so many modalities or that are yeah, or that's based on different teachings and like with human design, the Kabbalah, you have the Tree of Life, the I Ching, we got the astrology and as you say that yeah, what works for you, what worked for you, and you made it yours and feeling into and then it really it doesn't matter what system it's based upon because yeah, you are embodying human design, you understand it, you embody it, and it's given you that understanding for yourself. You're walking at the beat of your own drum in your own
Mm,
rhythm. And I feel like that there is so much authenticity that you hold within. And I can see that in you. I can feel it with you. And also, yeah, as you said, it's for the children. And I really love that because
mm,
it's, yeah, the children and also, yeah, the inner child, of course. And I feel when we talk about children, there is this innocence, there is a purity of beingness. And I feel with human design, you can tap into that as a tool for greater self-understanding, to know what your own rhythm is, to know what your own authentic power is. Yeah, also on your website and what you call the mana, that the authentic
mm,
power to step into. And yeah, it's really that, yeah, returning to our authenticity and being the author of our own life. and how we've been designed. And that, of course, we've seen to our embodiment on planet Earth, what we, of course, we're all in this human form. And also, yeah, what I love is that uniqueness. We all, even there's so many people here on planet Earth, and we all have that unique blueprint. And yes, there is similarities, and you and I, we've also discovered, looking at my human design, we have quite a bit in common, which was, and then exploring, yeah, the traits, the inner values, and yeah, I feel it's just so self-empowering to know.
Mm.
And as you say, yes, I guess as adults, as aware adults, we are working on a lot of the layers that have been conditioned, and we want to, it's almost like, yeah, unfuck ourselves throughout this lifetime and unlearning the learned, and coming back to that sense of self, and where we can truly express our gifts, and where we can honor, yeah. Or for me, for example, when we looked at my setup there, yeah, I know I'm a hermit by nature, and I'm also a networker. And for me, it's always felt like a paradox of it. Whoa, how can I be that that hermit that actually wants to remove herself and retreat a lot, but also there is this fire in me that wants to express and network, but needs a lot of that, um, yeah, a lot of safety to do that. And yeah, so it gave me such great insights in what works for me and how you explained it. And just briefly, also what came to mind in regards to, as you said, to embody ourselves more, coming from the mind, bringing it into the body. Also, astrologically, until 2033, we have a big Chiron transit, where Chiron, that wounded healer. And you also mentioned the bridge, as you said, that you've been bridging the systems and making it yours and tuning it to the level where you feel comfortable, also with your own cultural rich heritage. And so I feel this Chiron, the wounded healer, that's going to be in the sign of Taurus, the embodiment, until 2033. There's a real opportunity for us to, yeah, to for greater self-healing, empowerment, and to really embodying who we truly are. And it's not a quick fix. I feel it's like this real, it's a choice, and it's a beautiful self-empowering to walk that path. And yeah, I just love how it all weaves in, and yeah, how then astrologically, what, yeah, there's quite some similarities, of course, with astrology. And um so yeah, thanks so much for sharing, and how you got into, yeah, how you came onto, walked your path, and how it changed for you. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you want me to go into the second part of your question now?
Yes, please.
I have some breath, and
Yeah, yeah.
I love how we're like, it feels like I love how we're flowing here.
Mm.
When I just needed a break and a breath, you like picked up, and you know,
Yeah.
you had, you wove in there. And then I was like, when you were talking, I was like, oh, catching things you were saying, and then I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm ready to go.
Yeah, cool.
um
Let's do it.
so self-empowerment, that's a big word. Like, I feel like when you're speaking, I'm like, oh, I'm like, oh, did you see what I was gonna say? Like, did you see what I've been writing? um so anyways, when we pull a human design chart, there's 5 different types thus far, because I don't know, who knows, it may evolve and we may see um an evolution of human design. But anyways, that at this stage, there's 5 different human design types that you will see when we pull a chart, and we're like a little family. we're all designed to move uniquely, and I'll go through the different types, but we've got manifestors, who make up 9% of the population, generators, pure generators that make up 37% of our human population, manifesting generators, which make up 33%, projectors 20%, and reflectors make up 1%. Now I'm going to go back over those names a few times, with adding some building blocks each time and adding some dimension. And we've just been honoring all the art on the walls and things, just adding some dimension into this masterpiece and trying to bring alive the idea of human design and this family that we're a part of. So talking about that bridge and making it, that's what I wanted to say, that bridge of me making it my own. I honor that Ra, the founder of Human Design, he channeled it through standing from his position in life with his frames of thinking, with the things that he's mastered and the rabbit holes he's gone down in the knowledge systems that he's been drawn to and was passionate about. And I love that. And what I was saying on another presentation class a couple of months ago was that I don't hold those same that same mastery in those same areas. I hold lived experience and passion and mastery in different systems as a trained human behavior specialist. Looking at all the codes of human behavior and meta frames and all of this, learning about my culture. Like, I hold that those are the frameworks that I see life through. And so that's how I'm going to bring it through. And so I usually only sort of talk about this if I'm talking to somebody who's Maori, but I'm actually going to, for the first time, present it here and just trust that everybody listening to this will catch it in their own way and be able to make those links and those bridges into your own lived experience. So to describe the 5 different types through the metaphor of in a Maori worldview, we in our culture have chiefs, but you also would understand that concept, right? So it's about bringing some archetypes into it so that our body can really take in this knowledge, rather than just talking about manifestor 9%, generator 37%, logic. So manifestors are like our chiefs, right? Our ariki, our chiefs that will give an instruction to the people, and then it is carried out without any, there's no discussion about it. Once that has come through their body, once that has come through for the chief, that's what's happening, right? And so that's kind of the energy of a manifestor. They inform, right? They inform, and they're bringing through this new way of doing things. Hence, the founder of Human Design was a manifestor. And so that's that. The next part, generators and manifesting generators, with the sacral energy in their body to build, they're building our world. So these people are like our master carvers. Like back in the day when our people would voyage across the Pacific Ocean, like a highway back and forth on our canoes and our waka. Those canoes were built by masterful people, and those people are like the generators. They've built our world, they've built the means in which we move in the world. That's the energy of a generator or a manifesting generator. They sort of just move slightly differently. Generators are more focused on one task and sort of just slow and steady on the same thing, whereas manifesting generators are able to move fast and with many different things, put their energy into many different areas of mastery. But they're both creating our world. They're both masterful in building highways and pathways for us to walk on as humanity. Projectors are like our Matakite or our seers, how I've introduced myself. Most cultures around the world can resonate with what a seer is. Being able to give that guidance, that unseen guidance, being able to master systems that, don't necessarily have physical, tangible things to work with. So, if we think about the Matakite or the seer, the chiefs or the people would come for guidance when they're a bit stuck, right? And so it's about illuminating that path and giving guidance on what are the options, what are the, because they can see from a higher view. And then lastly, our reflectors, very rare. I liken these to we call them tohunga, but the like shaman, they go and sit away. They're very deep. Um, they can see back, they can see forward, but they're just sitting in life and they're trying to be as non-attached as possible. But they can see, and they see deeply, and they feel deeply, and they reflect back to us the health of our environment. Right? They're holding the environment essentially, and are able to, yeah, they're very deeply connected. And so these reflectors, like my cousin is a reflector. There's only 1% in the world, and I happen to have one of my closest cousins who lives in the same place as me is a reflector. And it works kind of like this: when we're in a situation and I'm freaking out, like we were at a festival one time and there was a storm, and I thought we were all going to get struck by lightning and, like, I don't know, killed. We were trying to hold the tent down, and she was laughing and like, having a great time. And I knew in that moment, we're okay. I'm okay. It's okay. There was another situation where I felt off about a space, and then when I bumped into her at lunchtime, she had headaches. She was also feeling not too good. She couldn't understand it, and then that was my confirmation that I should talk to somebody and say, hey, we need to like sort out some stuff here. And yeah, because she was reflecting back the health of the environment. So that's sort of like an overview of all the different types. We're one of these. When we put Sabine, she's a generator, I'm a projector, and we're all unique. But just because 20% of projectors are projectors doesn't make us all the same. There's so much more that goes into it. And we're like a thumbprint, a fingerprint. No one is the same. We may have similarities, but we're not the same. We're unique. And yeah, that's what I love about it. So I think that was a long explanation on the types, but I think it was just delicious, to rather than just tell you what you can find on Instagram, the logic. I want to give you some abstract kind of artwork to put it into your body, to get it into your body. My whole work is like, how can I just be me and as quirky and authentic as possible to help you get this in your body rather than it land in your mind? Because really, human design is about subtraction. At the end of the day, it's not, if you're adding, if it's just adding to the already layers upon layers of conditioning in your mind, then it's what my mentor, Uncle John, who used to run Human Design Hawaii, he's passed on now. But as he would say, it's not, it's full of shit. If you're just adding to the layers of conditioning to your mind and you're not actually feeling what's correct in your body, then it's really not, it's not doing what human design was here to do, which was to subtract.
Thank you so much. Thanks for explaining the types in detail. And so we had the projector, generator. There's the manifesting generator right beneath that. Yeah, then the manifestor, reflector. And what we can see here again, there is such a and as you said, also the percentage of people who fall in those different sections. No one is ever the same. There's still every individual is different, and I love that your how do you say what you told us about, sorry, your cousin, the reflector, the shaman, and that, and I feel we all, whomever we meet, we all have our unique place within this whole mycelial network of interaction. And and what stands out for me, is that individuated self. And of course, and again, in an embodied way. I feel that, and also with astrology, because we are looking from a geocentric view, we are looking at and also you mentioned, yeah, archetypes, and which is so important for astrology as well, are the archetypes, the urges within um, that work so deeply and profoundly. And so, from this geocentric view on planet Earth, and also that in the times we're in now, I feel the times are just so profound. And um, also, what stands out for me is with that uniqueness is that Aquarian energy. When I translated a bit into astrology, Aquarius also rules astrology, and Aquarius is the individuated, revolutionary, rebellious, creative, artistic self that can't be compared, doesn't compete, knows that they have their righteous place, where they are, what they're doing. There's a real sharing of authenticity, and yeah, we all have our unique place and contributing to the greater. And it just everything, so much of what you're saying right now, also, it really reminds me of this current astrology in addition, because as you know, of course, we're right in eclipse season. We just had a total solar eclipse. We're about to have a lunar eclipse at the end of the month. And the karmic nodes of the moon are for the next 18 months. We have a strong Aquarian guidance for 18 months to bring a greater uniqueness and authenticity into the body. And again, it is about allowing ourselves to be that quirky individual that stands out, that like no one else, to claim, yeah, to claim the song of our heart and move it forward. And I feel so many of us are currently feeling a stirring within, feeling a lot of change, and we may not quite know where we are headed or what that stirring is, or but I feel, and also what I've been hearing from, yeah, people that I talk to or astrology readings, there is that urge to express our unique self. And so many of us are letting go of jobs that we are no longer resonating with, and whatever's given us that sense of security and safety. A lot of people are, yeah, claiming what's right for them and taking a bit of a risk. I think there is also that, yeah, being brave and courageous to, there is no one like me, no one like you. And yeah, so many things that you say, I really hear that. And as you say, there is this great honoring, the great honoring for who came first and put a system together with what they knew, their own wisdom, their own heritage, their own limitations. And we are also in a time, and I love that you are like that as well, that I feel all the information we get these days and the books that have been written, and it's a great way to excavate what works for us and what resonates, and then we make it our own, rather than taking someone else's and just blindly following something, and which again it gives so much empowerment, I feel. And that's where I feel that strong connection, and that with Chiron, for example, Chiron, the wounded healer, is called the rainbow bridge. It bridges spirit and matter. It bridges where we feel that core wound of a disconnection from our core essence. And I just resonate a lot with that and been getting goosebumps about everything you're saying, because I feel this excitement for people to really, I mean, what a great world it is that more and more people are claiming their strength, their power, and saying that, yeah, this is me. I come from my heart, and this is what I want to do, whether my family is supportive, or whether people are saying no, you can't, or at your age you shouldn't, or whatever it is that the programs we run, and yeah, and dismantling all
Mm.
those layers that we or society have put upon ourselves. And there is so much, yeah, light and joy that is coming in, particularly as we're talking right now throughout this eclipse portal, that's also already stirring so much within us. And yeah, and then for someone, yeah, who is guided to have a session with you, and like I did, and yeah, to unravel more, and feel empowered, and that we, and also I feel a confirmation. I felt so much confirmation of,
Mm.
yeah, this is what I'm doing, and I'm not gonna hold myself back as much, and I letting things flow and surrender, and keep on going strong. Yeah.
Mm. Oh, I'm
Mm.
literally. It feels like talking to. Oh, I was just like literally tearing up hearing you talk.
Mm.
Um, like it feels like talking to big cousin. With your astrology knowledge and then human design knowledge. And it's like this. Whew, like this confirmation and just it's same but different. And but also just talking to a sister that I have come into contact with that I felt was correct. There was a correct connection, and that's what it's all about. How our bodies take on, like what how our authority, our no, hold on. How do our bodies tell us that it's correct to move in this certain direction? And so the connection between us was like safe and correct. And so when we're like, yeah, podcast, everything, it's like, yes, because we needed to come here and share in the way that we're sharing. Like, I cannot wait to listen to this back, mainly just to listen to what you're saying again. And I'm sure, there's a lot of value in what I'm saying also. And then together it's like, boof. So I know you didn't have a question, but may I
Mm.
continue or do we
Please.
do? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, thank you.
So I guess just to carry on from the threads that you've been pulling at and what like there was a piece of like future perspectives, and I'm not an expert in like the site like this part of the rabbit hole, but I do know I do know a bit about it in terms of the shift that we are currently about to face. And I know you're talking about Chiron and up to 2033. And that's why when I'm listening to you speak about that, I'm like, oh, I'm really curious. And you may even have some resonance with what I'm about to say. But according to human design, we have been in a period of, for the last 412 years, in a period that has been all about tribal bargains and deals and you know connections. And it's the era that has built our structures and systems that have built our world. But that era is finishing in 2027, and so we're moving to a different axis, which is in alignment with this Aquarian nature that you talk about, because it's an individuated um, vibe. So for the last 412 years, we've been in the cross of planning, which is made up of 4 different gates that I don't have on the top of my head, but it's been this energy that we are tribal, and that we kind of, I do this for you, you do this for me, and we won't hurt each other. And it's built the systems, the structures, governments, countries, trades, agreements, all of these things. That's the energy that has built those systems. And that has been in human design. There's 3, 4 kind of types of circuitry pulsing behind the energy that's in our body. We've got tribal, we've got collective, we've got individual. and then we've got some rare one circuitry integrated. But anyways, the three main ones are collective, tribal, and individual. We have been in a tribal era for the last 412 years. We are now moving into an individual era for the next 400 and something years, and that starts next year. So I'm really looking forward to like what's happening. But what this does mean is that as you've been seeding and as you've been saying, sis, is that this is now about stepping into your individual embodied self. And I'm just going to transmit it the way that I feel it. And I've had to take such a journey as an Indigenous person with the word individual, because it's like that's not really our worldview. We're very, tribal people at heart. I just described the whole human design types through that kind of high, like that place in the tribe kind of view for a metaphor. But also these structures are going, then we won't be able to rely on them as much moving forward, because we do need to be standing in our authentic self-esteem. We need to have that, because we let me gather my thoughts. It's like previously we could just rely on being taken care of in groups, and like we just play our part and we'll be taken care of, right? Now it's like those systems and those structures aren't necessarily going to be as solid as they once were, because the energy is no longer there for that setup. The setup that we're moving into is more about the spirit and more about the empowered individual. And what do you bring to the table as a clean, with self-esteem, authentic individual? What do you bring? And all of our connections will be based on, like how you and I met, coming into contact, coming into connection as two individual beings in our authentic power, in our mana, and then forming that connection because it feels correct in the body. Not because we have to, but because it felt correct in the body. Sometimes, like in this current sort of setup, you can have people coming together because it's their roles, because it's their responsibilities that they've been handed, but it doesn't mean that they're fit for the job. It doesn't mean that they're fit for the role, but still they get on and do the work, and it's half pie, or it's not good, or it's not ecological. It's illogical to some of us looking at it. Moving forward, it's going to have to be ecological, logical, feel good, feel clean, self-esteem. All of these things are going to be a must. Otherwise, we won't want to touch it. We won't want to be in connection with people who are not taking self-responsibility, who are expecting other people to pick up their shit where they don't want to have to deal with it. So we're moving into this era where people have to be able to handle their own and come cleanly, and not rely and expect from other people to do more than their share. So everyone's going to have to be self-responsible, which is like been my jam, and I've been talking about this for bloody 10 years. No one's listening. But I bet you, I'm making a personal bet with myself, come next year, or like around this time, people are starting to like wake up and go, oh shoot, I need to deal with this, because otherwise you'll get left behind. Because who wants to be in connection with somebody who's lived a life of expecting other people to clean up after their emotional stuff? Like, no one's going to want that. If we've got the choice between being in connection with someone who's knows how to take self-responsibility, has self-awareness, takes the time to invest in, turning and facing themselves, we're going to pick that, or we're going to pick someone who's not been doing that stuff. Well, yeah, it's a pretty simple answer. And that's the kind of times that we're heading into. So people are going to, from what is said, people are going to get a bit of a rude awakening. And, for years, the individuals, because there's people who, I've pulled charts for people and they have pure individual circuitry. And they've had a rough time in this current era because that rebellious, quirky, do it their way. They're trying to carve out a self-empowered path. They've just been getting misunderstood and whacked. And even I'm guilty of being like, what are you doing? You know? And but now moving forward, they're going to be the ones that light the way because they've been, taking the hits over the years or over the, generations. So it's going to be, we're in interesting times, absolutely. And yeah, I'm excited to see what happens as we move into this new era.
Yeah, wow. Thanks so much for sharing that. And I've also heard that recently about that 412-year cycle, which very much coincides also with, astrological, um, astrologically, what's coming next year and how we are moving more into these times. And yeah, it's I'm getting goosebumps with everything you say because it's really it's a time of discernment, isn't it? And which
Mm,
also which structures are working for me, which whom what am I giving, what's worth my energy. And as you say, there is and also what's coinciding with what you are saying is that the planet Saturn. So the Saturn cycle is one of about 29 and a half years. And only so Saturn this year moved into the sign of Aries, the first sign in the zodiacal wheel. So we're just starting a new 29 and a half, 30-year cycle. And Saturn is that planetary archetype that reminds us of our structures, of responsibility, of being determined and committed to myself in the sign of Aries. There is this self responsibility. And I feel we grow up in a society where self responsibility is not very much taught or shared because I feel
mm,
often we find ourselves in a system, also, as you say, where there is a reliance on the system, or we learn that we are not as powerful ourselves, and we give away that inner power to someone else, maybe someone with a title, someone who wears a white coat or whatever. I don't want to go into anything, but it's really a time to claim that self responsibility is the most powerful tool, and if we come into our clan, our community as that, and as you say, then we are building honest and truthful connections where there is no behind the back, there is no hierarchy, there is
mm,
if any issue, anything arises, it arises in the moment, it can be talked about, it can be, and then we can move on as sisters, as brothers, in that spirit of honesty. And in that way I feel we can heal a lot of those core wounds of where we lost that sense of trusting and feeling safe in the world, feeling that that connection to self, that connection with others. And so it's a real universal invitation to claim that. And yes, it takes that commitment to self and to show up how we want to show up, who do I want to become more of. And it doesn't mean that there is no striving for perfection. We are in this human experience, and it's not about that to be perfect in any way, but to create what I feel interdependent connection rather than codependence, or as you say, also, there's so much relying on others to pull us out or to look after us. And of course, the caring is part of it, but it's got to come from a healthier place than it's been over those so many years. And again, the word mana, the authentic power. And what's also interesting in astrology, Aquarius is the so-called mana of the heavens. That, yeah, I'm getting goosebumps, isn't it? It's, which I feel is that authentic power as above, so below, and pouring through all our pores into the body. And as you say, then to walk in our own rhythm,
Mm,
and what a difference that's gonna make as for us as individuals, as a society, as communities that are building more and more self-sustainably. And as you say, I really feel like also next year that big shift, it's it's guiding us towards, yeah, a positive future. I feel, even though we're also dealing with chaos, of course, it's a time of adjustment, and yeah, it's huge, it's powerful, and also, as you said earlier, it's gonna prepare us for the new world and the new leadership, isn't it?
mm,
That yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. It's big shit is happening. It's wow.
Big.
Um, yeah. And yeah, do you have anything else you wanna elaborate on that, or with, yeah, new world, new leadership considerations, and yeah, anything along those lines, or something else that resonates for you?
Yeah, what and please let me know if I'm going too far.
Mm,
I'll let
mm,
you. What I want to say is just what's been coming up in my own personal journey over the last couple of weeks is that we really are in a time where, like, if you've just listened to this whole episode, um, you know, we're not, the similarities are too similar. The languages are too similar. You know, the the forecasts are just too similar to ignore. And it's yeah, not to put fear or anything into people, but like a healthy sense of urgency that we really do, you know, need to become aware, because at the end of the day, it's our disconnection from these kinds of truth that are just the source of our suffering, our own suffering. And then we look around when no one, when no one's around, when the day is done and we're in the quiet of our own thoughts and it's just us in our mind. If we haven't been tending to that garden, whew, the narratives and the noise is going to be so alarmingly loud, um, that it's going to become too heavy for people to like handle. So what I'm saying is like, you know, follow your body in terms of like some practical tips is like the people that keep showing up in your life as a light, to illuminate things. Really do pay attention to that. Why do you keep coming back to their words or to their videos or to their, what they're saying? Why? It's not on accident. It's not the algorithm. It's most times it's like you're being led to listen to something from, to illuminate something within yourself. So have a look, like follow those breadcrumbs, and really start to get curious about um, not just what people are saying. And of course, there's people online that are just marketing to talk, they're just talking the talk to market, but really start to discern in your body, between things that just feel on the surface and a bit salesy, and then things that are really hitting inside your body and to your spirit. Discern and like taste that and start to like really listen to your body. And if you're feeling something that someone is saying, go towards that. Don't just sit outside the doorway and like wait for them to like pull you inside. Go and knock on the door and say, hey, what is this that you're talking about? What is this that I want to know more. yeah, I feel like a lot of people are just sitting outside the door. But guys, the door is closing. We're moving into these eras where we're like, we've got to like show up for ourselves. This is what we've been talking about for an hour. We've got to like, we've got like, what is it? Saturn and Aries. We've got to take the responsibility. We've got to go for it. That's Aries. Point that arrow and aim it and like go. And so it's like you take charge of the things that are calling to your spirit. Yeah, even the whispers. So that's what I want to say is just like, yeah, and just honoring the people like myself and Sabine, who our craft is up here. It's in our body and it's in our being and it's in our embodiment. And there are many days when I'm just like, oh, I don't know if I can do this because not many people get it. Not many people are listening. To those of us, the space holders, the fellow sacred navigators, coaches, whatever we call ourselves, those that walk this path of a calling, just hang in there because we're going to be inundated soon, I think. Yeah, can get a bit like heavy the journey, but it's just like we're positioned, I think, to be in service and in these years to come. And it's like, yeah, people gonna not need us, but yeah, yeah, kind of to understand. Mm.
Yeah, wow. Thanks so much, Jade. That's incredible. And yeah, so many of your words that just resonate with me so much. And I'll probably, yeah, I think that's a beautiful closure maybe for our podcast today about, yeah, tending to our own garden and cultivating, looking after the tender plants and also, yeah, and showing up to it and taking charge for ourselves and yeah as a part of a greater whole. And so also, so if people want to get in touch with you, Jade, want to have a reading, also I think what we didn't mention is, so the same with astrology and human design, people need, all they need is the birth date, day, month and year, right? Birth time and place of birth.
Yeah.
And then, so if people want to get in touch with you, what's the best way? And also, of course, we're going to share it on the YouTube channel. You will get all of
Mm.
Jade's, your website, your socials to get in touch with you. Is there anything to add? How to
Yeah,
best contact you?
yeah, just send me a message on Instagram. Like,
Yep.
being a 2-4 projector, Savina's a 2-4. Like, we're real. Like, there's not a big long line of thousands of people. I'm not using ManyChat. Like, just message me. If you've felt a pull, like as I said, don't sit outside the door. I don't know you're there. If something's resonated, just come and knock on the door and come in for a cup of tea. Like metaphorically, and yeah, I'm happy to like talk like that. So, yeah, that would be a good place to start. Yeah.
Okay, beautiful. So thanks so much, Jade, for being here today and for all our viewers from, yeah, your viewers, my viewers, and hopefully a lot more that want to tune in at any stage. And yeah, thanks so much. Have a beautiful day, and I'm sure we'll talk again. Bye for now.